Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Are you enjoying your food today? So, Alba and Yolanda, welcome to the Lunch and Learn, and it's my great pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, and he's also a longtime friend of mine, Mr. Wei-Si Wong. This year, we will be celebrating the incredible milestone, which is the 41 year as a practicing attorney. Over the past 2 decades, he has focused on estate planning, trusts and wills, probate and conservatorship matters, as well as the complex litigation that come with it. But the expertise doesn't stop there. He also began his career in civil litigation and leasing, and went on to master the employment-based immigration. And also had tried his hand successfully on the personal injury as well as the medical malpractice cases. Wei's broad legal experience has made him not only as a trusted advocate, but also a skilled probate mediator. And beyond the courtroom, he has served the community as president of the San Gabriel Valley Bar Association, which I also belong to, and president of the board of Neighborhood Legal Services of Los Angeles County, and also board member of the Chinese American Museum. I don't know whether you have heard about it. It's a new organization that bring us a lot of Chinese tradition, and also chair of the Southern California Chinese Lawyers Association's Unauthorized Practice of Law Committee. And he's also an accomplished author. He wrote some books, and he has written a lot of bilingual consumer law guides, and he has a novel. I don't know whether you have read it or it just came out, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the name is Out of Chaos, China 2026. Yeah, if you haven't read it, maybe you can introduce that to us. Okay, and if that's not all impressive enough, and he's also a proud member of the world famous Magic Castle. Can you believe that? And he has to give us free tickets to the Magic Castle, you know? So thank you, Wei. So now let's join me to give a warm welcome to today's speaker, Wei-Si Wong. Thank you.
Thank you. How many of you guys like baseball? Everybody, right?
Yay.
My sister-in-law said to me, "What's so good about baseball? They just throw the little ball." And I said, how about this? You ever been to a football field? She goes, "Yeah." I said, "It's really big, right?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, 100 yards, right? "Yeah, it's about 300 feet, right?" "Yeah." I said, "That guy in center field is at 390 feet for the LA Dodgers, 390 feet deep." I said, they catch the ball, they take a couple, they run up a little bit, then they throw it. A whole football field. I can't try to throw a whole football field, probably get up like 15 feet, okay? But then she goes, "Oh." And I said, the guys go like this, and it goes 90 feet. All right. But they're not as amazing as realtors, okay? You know realtors, how amazing you guys are? All those trees, all those palm trees in Los Angeles. You know why they're there? Real estate agents, real estate developers. What they do is they advertise, we don't sell land and we don't sell property, we sell the weather. So they did a bunch of pictures with palm trees. And that's how there's a bunch of palm trees in Los Angeles. Why is there so many Asians in the San Gabriel Valley? Anyone know? The area code here used to be 818. In Chinese, 8 means kind of like prosperity. It sounds like prosperity. So 8 and then 1, okay? 8, kind of like easy prosperity. And this realtor from San Gabriel Valley went to Taiwan. They ended martial law in 1984. And he was there all over the place going, 818, you're gonna come to America, you go to 818. That's why there's all the Asians here, all from Taiwan, okay? So that's why realtors are great. You guys create, you make things. How many guys know Raymond Chump? You guys ever heard of him? Hand-on development.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll tell you a real quick story as I get on here. Long time ago, I bought my office building. I bought it on 716 South Garfield. Before I went to buy that building, I signed up to buy 1112 South Garfield. My wife and I were going to move both our businesses in there. So I said, Raymond, you got a feng shui guy? He goes, yeah, use my guy. That person looked at that building. He says, this building has lost its business life. It has nothing to do with you, your wife, or birthdays or anything. The building lost its business life. So I said, what happens if I buy it? He goes, well, first, you're going to have the biggest disappointment in your life from which you may never recover. 2, you will lose all your business. And 3, you will get the divorce. Holy moly, right? So we passed on it, and we canceled escrow and all that. And I had feng shui inspection right on the contract. I didn't say due diligence, I said feng shui. The person who bought the building after I passed it up was a guy named Samuel Paz. Have you guys ever heard of Samuel Paz? He's famous for being the father of police brutality in California. He sued the sheriffs, the LAPD, for all these abuses that were happening. So he had a business, he's an attorney, so he did civil rights. He also did family law and divorces and bankruptcies. Well, Governor Wilson was going to appoint him to the appellate court. So what does he do? He goes back to judge school to study contracts, real estate, and all those other things. Okay, and he gives away his business to his buddies because he doesn't need it anymore, right? He has his chambers picked out in the courthouse. He bought a $13,000 table. I'm talking 1991. 1 week before his appointment, Governor Wilson said, the police league said, no way. You appoint this guy, you're gonna lose our support. So Governor Wilson says, sorry, dude, I gotta pull it. Disappointment. 2, no business. 3, 1 week after that happened, his wife filed divorce. So that feng shui stuff is not just mumbo jumbo, okay? Yeah. 1-2 South Garfield.
Okay, we won't buy that one.
I read the story about no business because he gave it away. I read the thing about the police league thing. I read the thing about the divorce in the LA Daily Journal, it's a lawyer newspaper. Of course, it didn't talk about the feng shui because they didn't know about it. When I read that, I almost fell off my chair. I went to my wife to take a look. So anyways, it's not BS. Hey, the presentation talked about trust and will and these type of things. I'm gonna tell you a story about my friend Robert. I did his mother's probate. After she died, I helped the dad do a trust. Dad dies, and we don't have to go to probate court, and we administer the estate and with everything to Robert. So we're up there at Pharaoh's Burger, having a burger. I said, hey, dude, you're not married. You don't have any kids. And you should just write at least a holographic will. I call that a caveman will. Imagine you're in a cave. There's no computers or anything. And you write on the wall, when I'm gone. You don't have to say when I'm dead. We know you mean when I'm gone, right? When I'm gone, I give everything to, or I give this to so-and-so. And just sign it and date it. That's a perfectly valid will, okay? You know what's funny? In my office, I say that. I did my clients, so I go, can I use a computer? Can I use a printer? I said, I just said all in your own handwriting. So you pull a piece of paper right now, you write down, when I'm gone, like this, you can write it down. That's a perfectly good will in the state of California. He goes, nah, I'm 42 years old. I said, dude, just write it up. No harm, right? Here's a napkin. Take out a pen. He didn't write anything down. A month later, his friend calls me. We're all mutual friends. Hey, have you seen him? No. So we sent the sheriff to his house. And there he was, laying on his bed, had a little white towel on his head, a closed bottle of Tylenol in the kitchen table. He's dead. He just had a brain aneurysm. He just died. Okay. He has one cousin he talks to. The rest, he doesn't know them. So we have to go by California law. And what California law says? It goes to parents, no parents, right? His parents really old, so of course, no grandparents. So it goes to the parents' siblings. Mom's side is like 5 or 6, and dad's side is about 5 or 6, and a lot of them are dead. So all the rest are cousins. He doesn't know them from Shinola. So we did the probate, took about 2 years. You know how many times they called to ask me, oh, how did he pass away? Is there anything we can do? How many times do you think they called?
0.
0. They're waiting for the check, that's all.
Mhm.
We have one piece of property, you know, I worked at up there in Lancaster, one of those little plots of land you buy and like gonna build a city, but they never did. So we said, hey, sorry, but we got this one piece of land we have to distribute. So we're gonna put all 16 names on it because no one said they wanted it. I said, if someone doesn't pay property tax, all your credit's gonna be ruined. Or sign this paper and we'll donate it to charity. That paper came back to me like that. Because all he wanted was a check. All right. So always write down something. Now I'm gonna always pick on guys dropping dead first, all right? And a lot of folks in here are the age where you start inheriting things from your parents or have already inherited from your parents. So let's say, I'm gonna just pick on you, so I'm looking right at you. Husband inherited a house, an apartment building from parents. And he isn't his name because, you know, all right, he's married to you. And he said, hey, wife, everything's together. We do everything together. On everything, he doesn't even think about transferring the property to her name and his name. Because, you know, we're husband and wife, you know, everything's no problem. Okay, she's got 3 kids. What happens if he dies? And he doesn't have a will or trust or anything else? The law says that is separate property because he inherited from his parents. All gifts, all inheritance, all life insurance, they're separate property. And what does the law say about separate property? If there's more than one child, 2/3 to the kids, 1/3 to wife. But you have been living off the rent on that for the last 20 years. And now you gotta ask your kids, can I have some rent back? And they say no. But if he wrote a will that just said, if I'm gone, all you know, those properties all go to my wife. Bingo, that goes to court, and it's all yours. And the kids don't get it. Now think about what happens if the kids are minors. Then wife gets 1/3, kids get it, but it goes into a guardianship, and that goes through court, and that's a lot of trouble. All right, but you know what I don't like about guardianships? It ends at age 18. Now that kid's got a bunch of money, and they're 18 years old, and they're totally financially illiterate. Okay, they're not responsible for taking care of things at that point. And their friend goes, oh, tell you what, let's go dinner. Always expects your son to pay or your daughter to pay. Okay, and later on they get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and they go, oh, let's add your name. You're in trouble. Okay, you're 18 years old. What do you expect, right? So a holographic will is something that you can prepare at any minute. Okay, you can write it up, 5 minutes, put it away. It's original, signed and dated by you. And it just has to say basically like letting the people know that when I'm gone or if I die, it goes there. You don't have to do the movie stuff. You don't have to say sound mind and all that stuff. That's just movies. Okay. If you already have a trust and a will already, then you don't need this holograph. Right? But if you have nothing, I have a client come in, he's an older gentleman. I see his legs is kind of swollen. And he goes, okay, I'd write everything to my brother, nothing to my 2 sisters and my other brother. Okay. But I haven't wrote a holographic will before he left the office. He died 1 week later, before I did his trust. I didn't even get around to doing it yet. All right. But his died 1 week later. Bingo. But it all goes to his brother. So always have something prepared, even when you're waiting to prepare, let's say a trust or something. Now, you guys are all real estate agents, so you guys know all about contracts, right?
Right.
Deed of trust. What is a deed of trust? It's a contract. How does a deed of trust work? You go buy a piece of property. He's the buyer. He goes in to buy it. He puts down his money. That's his equity. Then he goes over to the banker here somewhere. And the banker goes, all right, here's the note. But I need protection. You're a great guy, but I need protection. So I need you to sign a deed of trust. And you always sign that in escrow before escrow closes. And what's the deed of trust say? Basically, when you close escrow, you're going to get legal title and equitable title. We don't care about equitable title. That's your down payment thing. But the legal title, you're assigning it to this trustee. You will never be able to sell this property without the trustee's cooperation, right? That protects the bank. About the only time the trustee is going to cooperate with you is when you pay off the bank, right? New buyer buys the house, buyer's money comes to the escrow. Escrow designates the money to the bank, right? The bank tells trustee, release it. And all this stuff magically happens all at 8 a.m. Money comes in, it just goes like this, and bingo, now you're able to release title to buyer, okay? That's how a deed of trust works. It's a contract. Now, what happens if he defaults? The deed of trust says the trustee can take the property and sell it, right? You had a trustee sale. Collect the money, pay it himself, pay off the bank, anything left, give it to him. But of course, there's nothing left. But what's the most important concept here? Is every contract must control something. Now, you guys probably got the flyer of this presentation thing, okay? And you guys all deal with contracts every day, not just this escrow stuff. Your bank account's a contract. Your life insurance is a contract. Your 401's a contract. So what happens when you go to the bank? You put the money in, okay, I write checks back and forth, and then, by the way, if your check bounces, something happens to the money. And that bank account controls money. Your life insurance, it controls money. If you don't make the premium payment or you borrow money, you don't pay it back, something happens to the money. 401, you take money out early, there's a penalty, right? So if those contracts are affecting money, a deed of trust affects legal title. Your trust is not unlike a deed of trust or the bank account. It's just simply a contract. People always ask me, what's the difference between a trust and a will? Well, a trust is a contract. A will is just a statement of desire. A will must go through court because only a judge can review the will and she can say that will is written correctly and I will order what that will says. Holographic will, it goes through court. Regular will goes through court. No will goes through court unless you have other ways of distributing things. Okay? So wills must go through court. No will goes through court. And it's going to be really crazy expensive. It's great for the lawyer. Okay? And I'll explain later how expensive it is. Now, there's things that avoid court. You already know about the bank account. You put down a beneficiary. If I die, hand it over to my daughter. They just hand it over to the daughter. Why? Because the contract says so. Life insurance policy. I name these two people as my beneficiaries. Person dies, it goes to the two persons. They wait 40 days, give a death certificate, bingo, they hand the money over. Why? Because the contract says upon presentation of this, and I'm gone, you hand the money over. So this follows the contract. What about 401k? Same thing. You put down the beneficiaries, they just follow the contract. And your living trust, oh, by the way, living trust, family trust, all these other names, they're all marketing names. We only have two kinds of trust categories. Revocable, which are changeable, revocable, and then irrevocable, which is unchangeable. All right. Normally, for all of us, we're going to do revocable because we want to change it. Life happens. All right. So revocable, they say family trust and all these other different names, but it's this a revocable trust. All right. Then irrevocable, they call it, oh, the insurance trust. And they call it these other things. But it's just an irrevocable trust. The other name we tag onto is just marketing. All right. Oh, Peter, he's a lawyer. You know, we see a lot of attorneys write down insurance trust and irrevocable insurance trust. You know, I've never written one that says insurance trust on it. An insurance trust is this. Let's say you gave to your son a bunch of money and it's tax-free because you gave it to your son, and your son took the money and bought a policy of life insurance on you. That life insurance belongs to him. He doesn't get taxed on it when he dies. But if I bought a policy and it's in my name and I drop dead, that life insurance policy is included in my estate. All right? So an insurance trust is where I designate Peter. He's my trustee. I hand him a bunch of money because my kids are minors. And I say, you take that money and you invest it any way you want. But first you got to tell my kids. You got 60 days to say they want the money. They don't say anything. They're 4 years old, okay? So after 60 days, he buys a life insurance policy on me. If I die, all that money goes to the kids, but it's not taxed to me. It's the kids. All right? But one of the things it says, he's an independent trustee. He's investing it for me. But if I say it's an insurance trust, IRS is going to say, he has no discretion but to buy insurance on you. He's an agent. He's not an independent trustee. And then it gets taxed back to me. Right? Anyways, contracts can avoid court through beneficiary statements. The trust can do the same. But you guys know there's joint tenancy and community property or right of survivorship, right? And joint tenancy is super automatic. Bang. How automatic? You take the last 10 heartbeats of life. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Oh, before I get there, the person wrote a will that says, my half of the property, because there's two people in this joint tenancy, my half goes to my friend Ted. But the house is joint tenant to this other person, right? What happens? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. A nanosecond between 1 and 0, it belongs to the joint tenant. That's how amazing joint tenancy is. It's bang. Is the will still good? It's still good. It's just got nothing to give. Okay, so joint tenancy is very, very powerful. And of course, you have community property or right of survivorship. Acts exactly the same as joint tenancy. But you guys are brokers. Never advise your clients to put it in community property or right of survivorship. Why? The wife put in 90% of down payment, husband put down 10%, and you advise them to put it in under community property. They get divorced. Husband says 50% is mine. And she goes, no, we just did that because the broker said so. Now they go to court, they go fight about it. But they turn around and sue who else? The broker. You advised me to put in community property. I didn't intend to make a gift to my husband. Let the lawyer have that problem, okay? But for you, you don't know exactly where all the money came from, okay? So don't practice law. Just make it joint tenants. You want to make it different, you go talk to your lawyer, all right? Leave the responsibility to someone else. Joint tenancy, community property, what is the big difference between the two on the income tax side? She's really good. Okay, in this example, person buys a piece of property for $100,000. We call that basis. Basis is cost plus, right? You add a bedroom for $20,000, now basis goes to $120,000. But for our example, they can print out this thing for you, it's powerful. So if they sell for $1 million, they make $900,000 a gain, right? So under community property and joint tenancy, and they sell it while they're alive, the result is the same. Husband makes $450,000, wife makes $450,000, right? 500,000 minus 50, 450. 500 minus 50, 450. That's alive. What happens when one dies? And I always pick on the guy. So husband dies. What happens to the husband basis? Under joint tenancy, since he died, the basis will increase to fair market value as of the date of death. So if it's worth $1 million on the date of death and he owns 50%, then his basis goes up to $500,000. So wife sells the property right after her husband passes away. Husband's side, 500 minus 500, 0 taxable gain. Okay, and we say sell it right after death, just to make things simple. Okay, because I don't want to add more appreciation to the example. So we just say sell right after death. just to make the example easy. Husband side pays no capital gains tax. Wife didn't die, right? Her side still got $450,000 of gain. Pretty lousy. Okay, this is her house. She excludes 250, right? You guys know about that? Yeah, she can exclude 250, but she's still 200 grand over. What happens if it's community property? Under community property, we don't care who dies first. Either one dies, the basis on husband side and wife side go up to full fair market value. So in this example, his side, he died, so his is already zero. Her side, the basis also goes up to 500,000. So she sells it, both sides pay no capital gain tax. There's zero gain. What happened later on? She sells for 1.3. Yeah, years later she finally sells it. 1.3 minus $1 million basis. Now she made 300 grand, right? And she excludes her 250. Pretty cool. And then she's left with 50,000, right? How much does broker charge her? They're probably gonna wipe out the other 50. You know, broker fees, escrow fees, all the other stuff, fixing the house. It's gonna wipe out the other 50, okay? So she's gonna end up paying net zero. That's pretty cool. So a lot of people who have been married a long time, they will go, oh, you know what, just change your community property. Or they were husband and wife, they both contributed equally. Or they just say, you know what, I don't care, just make a community property, I don't care. But this community property, they get this treatment. Okay. Now, when the clients come to my office and I got a sense that it's kind of weird between the husband and wife, either I don't take the case or I don't say changing things to community property. But sometimes you get vibes, right? So there's a big difference between the two. So the good thing about joint tenancy and also community property right survivorship, like that. And the odds of both people dying at the same time is incredibly unlikely. So husband and wife go, oh, we're taking a trip, you know, so I want to make sure we set up our trust right away, blah, blah. I said, yeah, but it's so unlikely both of you die at the same time. Incredibly unlikely. When a plane goes down, how likely is that? That's even less likely. More likely to happen on a 10 freeway. All right. So it's really good for the first level. Okay, but parents are worried because what about getting to my kids? Right? The joint tenancy, you're not going to add your kids on as a joint tenant, right? Should you ever add your children on as a joint tenant?
No.
No,
No.
exactly. There's a couple of practical reasons. One, your kids drive more than you do. What if they're living outside the house, they get a car accident, and their insurance is not enough to cover? So they come back and the plaintiff sues you, right? Because the house is in the name, right? Now you're going to go to court and you're going to say, no. This was for probate purposes. I did not make a current gift, right? You're probably going to win, but how much money are you going to spend going through court to prove it? If your kid's name's not on it, you don't have to prove anything, right? What about your kid is very successful, doing very good. Got a real estate office, got 35 brokers working, and next thing you know, some big thing, catastrophe happened, earthquake, everything is gone. But the kid's got a bunch of bank loans. The bank goes, oh boy, I'm going after the kid. Oh, by the way, his name and her name and his name, they're all on your property. So never add kids unless there's a super duper reason to do so. Oh, by the way, you add a kid on, this happens a lot. Add kid on. Kid decides to buy a house with spouse. Mortgage broker says, you know what? If you add spouse to that house over there that's on your parents, you can save 0.25% interest. And the kid goes, okay, signs the deed, adds the spouse's name. This happens all the time. All right. And then later on they get divorced and like life happens, you know. And sometimes you end up liking your in-law more than you like your own kid, right? All right. So we talked about how contracts avoid court, joint tenancy, community property avoid court. Now we're going to talk about trust. And I already talked about the mechanics of the trust. Deed of trust is the same thing. So when you write up a trust, you're going to be the creator of your trust. You know what? let me go back, right? Remember we talked about probate and so contracts avoiding probate, a trust avoids probate, but what is probate? Probate handles two things. One, when people die, and when people are senile or incompetent. So I always pick on the guy. So let's say we take Dad. I'm gonna pick on you. What's your name? Christine. I'm gonna make it up. Christine's dad, he lives in California and he's kind of lost his marbles. Okay? So she runs and he doesn't have any trust with him, no power of attorneys, nothing. Or maybe he has a will, but no consequence. He's incompetent, he's not dead. So she runs the court, she goes, Judge, I need to take care of my dad's money. He runs out and buys a car every day, and we have to go back to the dealer and cancel it, which is not always that easy. And I got to take care of his health because he doesn't call the doctor. And if the judge goes, okay, she files her petition and she's going to spend around $3 grand just for costs. Filing fees around $500, court investigator fee around $600. And then the judge is going to appoint a lawyer to represent her dad to make sure everything is done right and she's not tricking dad. That's about $3 grand of cost. The lawyer's going to charge her around $6,500 to do this conservatorship. Once she gets approved, the judge goes, okay, you're taking care of his money. So I need you to do an inventory. I need to know how much money he's got, the real estate, the stock, the cash. I need it all appraised. And it's going to be done by a court appraiser. And they're not free. Oh, by the way, you're taking care of his health. So I need a care plan from you. So he has to fill out this 3-page form and says, this is my dad. This is what he's taking medications. This is who's taking care of him during the daytime when I'm at work. All this stuff she has to put down. Care plan. Oh, by the way, it's going to get more fun for her. Okay. The judge goes, 8 months after you get appointed, I need you to file an accounting. I need to know how much you started with. I need to know how much money went out. I need to know how much money came in. And it's not balanced to the penny. So she's got to have a good bookkeeper track everything for her. It gets worse. She has to buy a bond that says, I won't steal dad's money. If she stole dad's money, bonding company paid the family, and then of course the bonding company chases her. All right? It gets worse. But it's good for the dad. We're protecting dad, right? We don't care about her. So she's got to come back in court every 2 years. And she has to do another accounting every 2 years. And the lawyer's going to pop her for $5 grand plus another $500 filing fee. That's every 2 years. In 20 years, she's got 10 of these. And of course, the price goes up, right? And she also has to have a good bookkeeper, keep all her receipts. I have a friend, he's a great mediator. He's a lawyer. He does these construction disputes. 120 people in the mediation. He can handle it. No problem. He was taking care of a thing for his parents for 20 years. And then when they died, he had not a single receipt, nothing. So I think his siblings were very happy, okay? So he's stuck in litigation. So she's got a big job to do. Keep all the accounting, all this stuff. But what if dad had a trust? And dad's trust, like we said, just like a deed of trust, dad's the creator of the trust. Dad is the beneficiary of his trust. Of course, all that money that he's putting in his trust belongs to him, so he should be beneficiary. He should be able to buy, sell, do anything he wants with his property. And by the way, he's trustee of his own trust. Okay? Why does he be trustee? He's not going to give up control to someone else. So he's going to be all three. He's over there going, how can I have a contract with myself? And the law says, well, we would treat it as a valid trust if you have a proper trust purpose, you have a trustees named in your document, and the trust has property. These are only 3 elements you need to have a valid trust. So what's the purpose of the trust? Keep me out of probate court. If I'm senile, she's my daughter. I named her as number 2 trustee. I'm first trustee. She's number 2. So if I'm senile, she takes care of everything that's in my trust. All right. And by the way, I have a power of attorney for healthcare that says if I no good here, she can talk to my doctor. She can make healthcare decisions for me. with the trust and the power of attorney for healthcare stay completely out of conservatorship court. Oh, now you got questions. How did that property get in there? You write up the trust, and here's a little bit of historical tidbit. All the old trusts you see, always go, I have $10 in my trust. And the lawyer writes it that way. Why? Elements. You must have a valid trust purpose. You must have a trustee, and you've got to have some property in it. So we just say $10. Because who knows that we switched $10 pocket, right? No one knows that, so that's a fiction we used to do. So let's say a client comes to me and I do their trust. I'm going to help dad write a deed. It's going to say, I, dad, give my house to myself as trustee of my trust. Dad signs another deed. I, dad, transfer my apartment building as trustee of my trust. I transfer my other rental property to dad as trustee of my trust. So all the titles fixed up. Now dad goes to his bank. He says, bank, I open a trust. This is the name of it. Dad's trust. I'm the trustee. Close that bank account, open a new account in dad as trustee of dad's trust. Okay, goes to a brokerage account, does the same thing. Close the account, transfer all my stock to dad as trustee of dad's trust. Now she's over there going, but he's got beneficiaries. Why should I put it in my trust? I already got beneficiaries. Well, you're not dead. Dad's not dead. So let's say her dad has all those accounts in his name. He has a house and those things in the trust. So she can take care of the house. She can't get into those bank accounts. She can't get into the brokerage account. But if those accounts are in the name of the trust, just like the real estate is, she takes care of everything that he put into that trust. So if he put his bank account, brokerage account, the real estate, the apartment building is all in the name of the trust. Dad as trustee of dad's trust. And his trust says, next trustee is my daughter. She steps in, she takes care of it. But the trust goes further. It says, if I die, I want her, my daughter, who's my trustee, to make the distributions for me to my family members or whatever. She might be the only beneficiary, but she just distributes. Now, why is that good? Because if it didn't have that, and it ended up in a probate side of death in probate court, us lawyers, we love it. When I first started practicing law in 1984, we basically didn't want to do probate law because you have to be a high volume practice. In 1982, they came up with a law about how lawyers can charge in probate for when someone dies. On the first 100,000, we can charge 4%. Second 100,000, we charge 3%. Next 800,000, it drops to 2%. Then it goes to 1 million to 10 million, another 1%. So we're cheaper than brokers, okay? It goes down. But in 1982, who wants to do probate? In those days, it used to take like 4 or 5 years to go through probate court for a decedent. And the houses were, well, how much in 1982? 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, about 80 grand. So what's the lawyer fee? 3,200. 4 years. Who wants to do it? All right. You know why I didn't start doing probates early on? Because I'm a Chinese guy and I study estates and estate taxation. I study income tax. I was gearing to go into trust and estates. But, you know, that's 1980s. Can't get in. All the Chinese people here in the United States, they're all from Aisan, Southern China. They all went to white lawyers. Okay. And a Chinese guy with my name, W-E-I, and people here speak Spanish, Mexican Spanish, no laughing, okay? Oh boy, I went to Castro, it was half Chinese, half Mexican, so you know, and you learn that. For you guys that don't know, away, right? How did I pronounce it right?
Yeah.
In Mexican Spanish, it sounds like a castrated bull. Yeah, so don't laugh at my name. So in those days, I applied, sent my resume, and those days you just can't get in. All right, which is one reason why I went to litigation. All right, because it doesn't matter. Going to court those days is like 3 Chinese guys, and that's it. All right, it's a whole different. And women, you don't find a woman anywhere as a lawyer in those days. Now it's like 50%, which is big change. Life has changed a lot. But I switched it, was able to pop back into doing estates when the Taiwan people start coming. Because they're used to seeing Chinese lawyers. There you go, right? Okay. So on the probate side, it's really expensive because every house now, even a condo is 500,000, right?
Mhm.
So let's do the math. Condo, 500 grand. 4,000 plus 3. No, last time I checked, that's 7. All right. Now that's the first 200,000, right? Now you got $300,000 left. Times what? Another 2%. That's 6. Oh, we got that's 13 grand. This is to transfer one little itty bitty house. Now they came up with a new law, and the new law says if it's under 750, we can make a quick transfer. We don't have to go through this process. This really expensive process. But I tell my clients, look, do the full probate anyway, especially if you're going to sell the house. Like, why? I got the summary procedure, the brand new one, 750, it just transferred to us like that. Okay? I said, yeah, but when you get the property and you sell with what? Warranties. Right? But if you sell in probate court, no warranties, buddy. Roof caves in tomorrow, right after close of escrow. C'est la vie. So I tell a lot of my clients, just sell it in probate. Forget about this quick one. That protection of not getting sued after close of escrow is great, right? So it depends on people, but sometimes mom, whatever, whoever, they never sell the house. So they go, we're just gonna do the quick summary one, right? But in the old days, it was a high volume practice. But today, the house is 1 million. It's going to be $23,000 for the attorney. Good money for the lawyers. All right. Oh, by the way, executor. Let's say there's 3 kids, and oldest one. She goes, don't worry, Peter. Don't worry. I'll take care of it. I live in LA. I'll take care of it. She doesn't tell Peter, I get to charge the same thing the lawyer charges. Wham, right? And by the way, sold the house in probate. So she goes, I need another 3 grand because I met with the broker, got the house ready and all these things. And then the lawyer goes, I want another 5,000 to do the contracts and all that. That's another 8,000 on top of the other money. All right, so this $1 million house, 23, now plus 23, plus another 8, plus another 3. So you can see probate is crazy expensive. And that's why trust in California has become so popular. It's not very popular in Arizona. Arizona's like that's 3 months you finish your probate. Okay, so different jurisdictions, different things. But in California, we're really expensive, and probate court is really difficult. So let's say Dad put everything in a trust, and he says, "Look, I want you to distribute everything." And it also says, "I want to go to the 3 kids." But one of the kids dead. But those kids got children, grandchildren.
Mhm.
And the trust says goes to the grandchildren, like number 3 son, he's dead, it goes to his kids. But his kids are minors. And that's why very often when we write up a trust, we might create something in the trust so that she, as trustee, will continue to take care of the money for these minors. Why? If you didn't do that, it ends up in court. And what happens when it ends up in court? The kids get everything at age 18.
Mhm.
All right. Also, there's a lot of groups and things. You try to sell a property that's really complicated. But let's say the trust says, if it goes to grandkids, she's going to manage it until they're 25. She takes care of the money until they're 25. All right. The trust document will probably also say, if she doesn't really want to do it, she can also pick a professional manager. So this way, it's an orderly presentation. If it goes to age 25, the kid's probably much older. They're able to be more financially responsible. Okay. So a lot of you folks here may write up a trust that says, I want my property, husband and wife go each other. We're both gone, it goes to the kids. All right. Now, I'm looking at ages here. Some of you guys got some young kids. All right. So you give it to your kid and you want to manage for the kid. And the idea is the kid would become more financially mature as the years go on, right? So your trust says kid gets money for health, care, education, maintenance, and support. You might cut out support at age 26 just so that force them to get a job. But a trust doesn't fully distribute until the kid's 30. So that's the idea. Wait for the kids to become financially mature.
What you've explained is extremely interesting, complicated, and very expensive. What about another alternative that you should cover, and that is distributing the assets while you are still alive?
Keep the question and I'll tell you. I just say mucked up. Okay? Well, I'll answer, okay? Parents control kids in many different ways. And one of them is you still hold the keys.
Mhm.
Kids may never lie to you, but they may never tell you the truth. And one thing they never tell you is about their finances. So you give it to the kid, all right? This is reality. This is real world. You give it to the kid, and most people live right up to the limit, right? Everybody does. I don't care if you're Magic Johnson, they do. And they get all hocked up because they used it, they leveraged it, they're all hocked up. And then now life happens and you need the property back. You know what they say to you? They start ignoring you because they don't want to tell you, Dad, I screwed up. So since they don't tell you they screwed up, they always come up with a lie or they don't talk to you. And then you go, my kid just turned into an asshole. But because they just can't tell you, I blew the money. I got all hocked up. I can't. All right? This is what you do. While you're alive, you give money to kids. Watch them. They buy new car, but they don't take you out to lunch. They buy new curtains and all this stuff. They don't take you out to lunch. You don't come by on Saturday and Sunday. Go, hey, Dad, let's go. Now you're seeing where the money's going. So it's good to test the waters. Now, capital gains. You bought the property was 100 grand. Now it's worth 5 million bucks. What's your gain?
At least 4.5.
Yeah, at least, right? You give what you have. So you end up giving them a house with that tiny basis. All right? And you fully depreciate it. So there's depreciation recapture. Are you guys familiar with depreciation recapture? Yeah,
Mhm.
you're going to be depreciation recapture. Okay, I'm going to tell you this story. This is a true story. These guys are bums. They got Dad to transfer $10 million of real estate to them. And he died a month later. Okay?
He died a month later.
Yeah. He gave his half to the kids, 10 million bucks worth. Wife still has 10 million bucks. Now they're getting mom to sign over her part to them. I said, you guys idiots? You got this $10 million property on Dad's side, and the basis is close to zero because he bought everything in 1960 something. All right? You have all this gain. It's impossible. The only thing you do is keep on selling it and then doing 1031s. Mom's side, they're doing the same thing to her. Well, that's just elder abuse. Okay?
Yeah.
Doing the same thing to mom's side. They're going to end up with all this property with like this tiny little basis like this big. They sell, they're going to get killed on capital gains tax.
Mhm.
All they had to do is wait 1 month. Dad's trust said give it to them. They got it complete stepped up basis, and they could sell Dad's half 10 million bucks worth and collect $10 million, no capital gains tax.
So the kid had to cop up tax on.
If they sell, but they're not going to sell. How can they sell?
Mhm.
The only thing to do is do a 1031, but they do 1031 just to go into their property. They're going to carry over the basis, right? Which is really dumb. So don't give it to kids. Plus, it's a matter of control.
Does setting up a trust prevent inter-family fighting?
Depends. All right. A trust or a will. We talk about inter-family fighting. When I write up a trust and I see people, the kids, going to be a little bit at war, I tell my clients, don't make any one of the kids trustee. We do a professional. Depends how much money you got, of course. Because professional dues cost money. Let's have Northern Trust Bank be the trustee, or Bank of America, Wells Fargo Bank. You think those kids are going to be yelling at the banks? They're doing like boom, 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 boom. All right. But if you're the trustee and you got 4 siblings, they're going to be on you all over the place. and then they're gonna sue you. Of course, they're gonna sue you.
Yeah.
All right? Just because they want to,
Mhm.
whether it's right or
That's
wrong.
pretty exciting.
It does get exciting.
Real life.
That will give it
Real
up.
So if I got clients where it's gonna be
So
kind of
funny.
funny, I say, look, use a professional lead manager. They're gonna say
Mhm.
this. Or if you really want to get tough, just write a will and forget about the trust. Put them in front of a judge. And the
Mhm.
judge goes, behave. Well, I'm gonna make a decision that you're not gonna like, and you're not gonna like, and you're not gonna like.
Ah.
And now you're going, whoa, whoa. All right? Person up there, she's up there wearing the black robe and goes, like that. So there's a number of things you can do to stop inter-family fighting.
Wade,
Yes.
can I add something from a title point of view, because we see this, and you've probably seen it a lot more. I've had 2 files where there's the parents' names, the siblings, all 4 of them, successor trustee,
Hey.
co-successor trustee, so 4, I had 2 transactions, 4 sons. Oh my God, they
Ah.
fought so much.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was so bad. They all agreed to close it. But the money was held in escrow for I don't know how long, because within amongst themselves, they were still fighting. And then I had 4 sisters on another transaction. And yeah, that's
I just
that
read,
could be a mistake, right?
I just ran into my friend from elementary school at the Costco by my house. I know him since 3rd grade. And he goes, oh, you know, my dad died and all this stuff, my mom and everything. I said, yeah. He goes, well, my 3 brothers and I thought we'd be fighting, but we're all cooperating and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, when did he die? 3 years ago. I said, have you guys distributed the property yet? Well, we have been trying to talk about, should we keep it, do this, do that? And then now we're thinking about maybe making a partnership and owning these buildings. And my advice to him was what?
Wow.
It's been 3 years, you guys haven't been able to do jack. What makes you think you can be partners,
Mhm.
right? Okay, so you do the trust, her dad did the trust. That keeps it out of probate court for a conservatorship side and keeps out of court on the probate side for death. And he also had a power of attorney for healthcare. Most of us prepare one. It could be what we call springing or immediate. I wrote one for myself. I said, my wife, she can call my doctor anytime she wants. I don't have any sex things in there that I'm trying to hide, okay? She can call my doctor anytime she wants. She can talk to my doctor. I don't care. She can make healthcare decisions for me. All right? Of course, the doctor listens to me first, and then listens to her second. If I say no, she says yes, doctor has to follow me. Now that's an immediate power of attorney for healthcare. There's a thing called springing power, which means, my wife can't do anything until something happens, like I become mentally incompetent. All right? Most people do a power of attorney for healthcare. They're going to say, you know what? If I'm going to be a vegetable, say la vie, bye-bye. If I'm going to have quality of life so terrible, I can't talk to my family, my friends, okay? And the physical is so bad, you might decide not to treat me. Almost everyone says, okay, pain medicine. I always want pain medicine if I'm in pain, right? Even if I get addicted or it may hasten my death. Almost everyone says that.
Mhm.
And you guys can do one tonight. All right, I refer everyone to the Sacramento Law Library because I like their forms, okay? They're statutory forms, but theirs is fillable when you download it. Sacramento Law Library, look up power of attorney for healthcare and advanced directive. I'm sorry, power of attorney for healthcare, which is called an advanced directive, and a power of attorney for financial management. You can download those right now, fill them out. You say, okay, my husband this, my wife that, my kids this, can make healthcare decisions. It's designed for you to fill out by yourself. So Sacramento Law Library, look up the forms, download it, prepare it. At least you have something. You guys got kids that are over 18? You got zero say-so if they go to the hospital. Doctor will talk to you, but legally, you got zero say-so.
Mhm.
Husband and wife, you got zero say-so unless you got this thing written. Okay? So it's a good idea to have, all right? Especially kids go off to college and all these kind of things. They go to school in Connecticut. Well, download one over there. Every state has these things. It's the power of attorney is created by the legislature so that people will have this, all right? We always do a will with the trust. And people say, why do a will? You already got a trust. It's a catch-all. The will says, Judge, if I die, I have stuff that ends up going to probate court. Just order it to my trust. Then let my trust take care of it. Now, how can this happen? Super easy. You created a trust, you put your 5 properties in there, and you took one out to do a refinance. But you forgot to put it back in. Well, of course you forgot to put it back in. It took a year to do a refinance. You're sick of you're sick of this whole thing. You finish refi, you leave it on the table, and you don't look at it again. 4 years go by. It's still outside your trust, right?
Mhm.
So a will is a catch-all. If I have something that must go through court, order it to my trust. Let's get back to a little bit about the child's trust. How many of you guys got kids? It's about it. Financial maturity. What is that? The kids today are illiterate financially.
Yep.
They take their phone with them. My nephew does this. He goes, zap, zap, when he pays for things. I mean, but my nephew, he's really good. He watches it. Okay, my nephew, he's a tax lawyer.
I don't even
But
wanna do
you see
that.
the kids doing that. Bling, bling, bling. All right. Have you ever had a job? Especially today, schools are so hard to get into. It's so competitive. So you spend all your time just studying, right?
Mhm.
How much life experience you got? 0.
Zero.
What was I doing at age 12? Doing the addition for my dad's tax returns. They give us all the things there are to receive. I never learned 10 keys, so I was going that just one finger thing. All right. By the time I was 16, of course, we were doing tax returns for my dad because my other brothers left town. They went off to their thing. They're older, so they left. So my other brother and I were doing tax returns. By the time I was 22, I created a tax plan to wipe out all the capital gains on a building my dad sold. All right. But of course, we did all the plumbing and all that kind of stuff too. But we had a life experience in those days. Today, the kids, what does the resume say when they apply to college? Great GPA in high school, great GPA in college. Oh, by the way, they got what? Activities. They play volleyball. They play piano. Okay. Now, all the kids' applications look the same. All right. Now, if you are an admission officer and you have 2 kids with identical GPAs and one has work experience, which one you're gonna take into your school? The one with the work experience is gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Do the math. UCLA gets what, 100-something thousand applicants a year? How many admission officers are there? And then you do the math, divide it. They spend like 4 minutes on the application. So, okay, I'm gonna pick on Asian kids because we're not Asian kids in this community. 4.5, volleyball, band, piano. And then look at this other Asian kid. It says the same thing. And then now you look at Hispanic kid. It says the same thing. 4.5. Okay, piano. They all look the same. But that kid has work experience. Colleges get graded on 2 things: incoming class and outgoing class. All right. In August every year, you get the magazines that come out. Our students got placed. 86% of them got placed after graduation. All right. They've got bragging rights. So the kid worked during high school. They're more likely to be working throughout college and more likely to get a job right away out of college. So the schools love that. Plus the application sticks out like a sore thumb. This kid worked at McDonald's 12 hours a week. He got the same grade as her kid. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, he got the same grade. But what's 12 hours a week? First, you got to get ready. Then you got to go. Then you got to go do work. Then you have to get home. You still have to do your homework. And the grade's the same as the other guy. I'll pick the one with the work experience. All right. But another thing, the kid learn. Now, if you got kids and then they're not going to do this, yeah, this is where you lie. Kids, I get headaches when I read now. Can you help me balance the checkbook? We actually pay for internet. We pay for electricity. Now they start getting some financial maturity. So get the kids involved one way or another. They get a job, they get a paycheck, and all these taxes are taken out. And they go, is this all I get? But they get financial maturity. All right. Don't let your trust be the one to teach your financial maturity. It ain't happening. I got clients that say, my clients will get their inheritance at age 30 if they take these financial management classes. So they get it at 40 if they don't. But you know what the kid does? room out, trying to control me from death. They're just pissed. And they're not gonna learn anything if they didn't even decide in the class. So, you know, get them going as they're alive. Okay, questions?
Questions. So you're talking about inheritance, and putting the trust, I'm sorry, I didn't say that right. If you get an inheritance and you want to keep it as separate
Yeah.
property,
Mm-hmm.
then how do you deal with that asset going to the trust and distribute it accordingly? Or
Very simple. So let's say you inherit property and you want to keep it separate. All right? You can do a separate trust. That's only you. That's one way of doing it. Some people put it in the mutual trust of husband and wife together, but it's named as separate property. I advocate just making your own separate trust because then you don't need him to sign off.
Mhm.
Okay? The rule is this: separate grows separate. Community grows community. Let's take, how many of you guys got orange trees? Orange trees are great. You do nothing. You just water the darn thing. So if you get an orange tree from your parents and all you do is water it, that tree never becomes community property because you don't do anything. Water sprinkler system. All you do is pick the oranges. If you have an apple tree, it's a lot of work. You guys familiar with apple trees, or are you all city people? Okay.
City.
If you got a branch and you got an apple here, you got one here. In the beginning of the season, you gotta go up there and look up there. If you got one here, you cut it here. Because then this apple goes real big. If you don't cut it, you got two small apples and it's lousy. So all season long, you go up there. All right. And then after the season, you got to prune the tree back. But if you're a husband, that's marital time you're using. So the more marital time you put to this tree, the tree starts converting little by little to being community property. Apartment building, same thing. Let's say the wife spends every weekend fixing the plumbing and the this and that. That's community time. Even though that house was hers, you know, from her parents, that apartment house was separate property, she's spending marriage time fixing it. So as years go on, little bit by little, it's becoming community,
Mhm.
all right, or a percentage of it. Okay, so that's your answer, I hope. You have a question.
You're a very good speaker,
Thank you.
and,
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm gonna ask you a very simple question. What is the procedure and process to become a client of yours?
Yeah, you pick the phone and go, hey, say, hey, amigo. I need to make an appointment. That's all.
it.
That's it.
Cards are right
Is
there.
it expensive? Do you charge for an appointment?
Typically, I charge for an appointment, but I charge a flat rate for most standard trusts. And then I just put the meeting into the flat rate. It just absorbs it right in there. And you want to know how I charge and everything, call my secretary, but it's still around 3,500, something around there. Okay, give or take.
Your rate is 500 an hour,
I charge $4.25 an hour. He
425.
charges more.
Do you give discounts to friends of Peter Camp?
Bottom line.
You want to know the truth? I charge him double. No. Okay, yeah.
Go ahead. I have a couple of questions, and you touched on a lot of great points and a lot of scenarios and situations that we come across on a daily basis with the title transaction. One of them I want to highlight is about mom or dad, or just one of the parents adding their child on title, even if it's as joint tenants. I've had many transactions, many realtors call me and say, the mother or the father, I put my son or daughter on title to avoid probate. And now they want to kick me out of the property. They want
Oh,
to sell
yeah.
and they want to kick me. No, I can't tell you how many phone calls, transactions. I get all of your phone calls from this. So you want to just touch on that real lightly again. And I
I'm
did.
sorry, but you're gonna have to close your mouth because it happens all the time. No, really, you have to surprise, but it happens all the
It
time.
does. So sad.
Horrible.
They want to
Yeah.
put the mom or dad in a convalescent home or just anywhere, and then the child wants to put, the son or daughter wants to put the
You
parent.
do that if they're joint tenant with the child.
First of all, it's called elder abuse. And the people
Yeah.
who do abusing of elders is typically not a stranger. It's usually their own kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably pay the mortgage.
No, they just, doesn't matter. They just, they get abused.
Oh.
Okay, you get mom in the office and goes, I said, can you come back tomorrow? I don't know if she let me out of the house.
Oh, my God.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, it's,
If Shane is on title, how can they give
You-
It
you'd
just,
be
it happens.
surprised.
It's abuse. Abuse.
It's manipulation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You have to remember the parent is elderly, maybe getting sick, you know what I'm saying, so. You know, they're at a disadvantage and you have to understand, and they love their son or daughter, even if they're terrible. I've seen and heard a lot, and I've gotten phone calls from both sides, it's unbelievable, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's sad and it happens, go ahead.
Question, if you change the name, do you need to change all the trust?
What do you mean you changed the name?
And let's say you change, whatever, you get married or
Okay,
you
so-
change name, do you need to change?
No, first of all, let's say if you got married, no big deal. We just follow along the marriage certificate and say, oh yeah, they're married. And we just do an AKA or something. That's not a big deal. The trust itself, that's the shell. So you can name it George and Mary Trust. And you change your name to Paul. She changes her name to Sally. You just carry your name change order.
Oh,
We still follow you, no problem. Yeah.
I think you just, file an amendment to the trust, naming that AKA name
Yeah.
can be used, that's all,
Yeah.
very simple.
And on deeds, we always do that. We say formerly known as.
Mhm.
Yeah, they don't even ask for the marriage certificate. We just say formerly known as. It goes right through. And your question?
Yeah, so if there's a trust and there's real estate, and then they leave one of the kids as the executor. And there's 4 or 5 kids. Do they all have to agree on selling the property, or just the executor has?
Okay, an executor is what goes through court, and a trust is called a trustee. It's just basically they're doing the same thing, something. We just follow the definitions.
Right.
So the trustee says, yo, dudes, the trust says sell, I have to sell. Okay? Trust does not say sell, but trust, you're a trustee and these are 4 siblings. And he goes, I want to sell. He goes, oh, no, I want to hold it. He goes, I want to sell. You as trustee have a duty to prevent fractional interests. Okay, because if you distribute, they're gonna have to file a lawsuit to sell. It's called a partition. So you as trustee goes, you know, they're fighting, so I'm just gonna sell. I'll split the money.
They have that power?
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
can I ask the questions from Zoom? To have a trust, any benefits other than probate, lawsuit, short sale, foreclosure?
Okay, the answer is this. A trust purpose is only to keep you out of probate court for conservatorships, you know, senility and death. It does not help with creditors whatsoever. The rule is this, it's very, very simple. If you can get it, your creditor can get it,
Okay.
all right?
Good question.
And then do you speak Mandarin is another question?
I can get away with it.
Okay. And
I took Mandarin in college, and then my wife is from Taiwan. And for those of you who speak Mandarin, I'll tell you a funny story. First date, my wife said in Chinese, if you don't talk to me in Chinese, I'm not gonna talk to you. So I haven't used Mandarin in 15, 16 years. I go, wow, when I went, whoa, okay, that means I, yo, means have, 我有时间, I, okay, 我跟你去, take you to, and I go, 睡觉, which means to go to bed. And I keep talking, then she goes, you meant school, that's 学校. All right, well, anyways.
Okay.
I guess I
That's
missed
the other
it.
thing, I'm the first American-born Chinese she ever dated, so maybe few American-borns joke different. No, but anyways, any more questions?
Yeah, they've said how much per trust made, but I think you already answered that.
Yeah, every lawyer is a little bit different. You're good, you're lucky to say Blue Valley because we charge a little bit more reasonable. Go to West LA, you're gonna just charge you double.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah.
They got more rent than we do. Yeah.
Two questions. One, when you have a trust, and it's to avoid inside fighting with the siblings, correct? Because there's one trustee, and if they don't agree, the trustee makes a decision. And so if it's to avoid, they can sue you and take it to court because they're not in agreement with the trust. So what's the purpose of the trust if they're still gonna be fighting?
When you write up a trust and the parents die, the first thing the trustee is going to do is they shall go see a lawyer.
Mhm.
Because the lawyer's first thing they're gonna tell is, you have to send out a trustee notice that's prescribed by the probate code. Specific wording, and it's gonna say, you got 120 days to contest this. If you don't, it's in stone. Okay? Not only that, but the trustee should have a lawyer represent them so that the lawyer will guide them along.
Mhm.
All right? They go, oh, I have to get appraisals. I have to do this. This is why I tell my clients when we administer, I have to carry a big hammer. I said, look, every bank statement you get, we're gonna get copies to the other side. Every time. You're not required to do it until the end of the year. But every month we're gonna give it. So let's say it's January. You give it January, they scrutinize it. February, they scrutinize it. March, they might not look at it.
Right.
June, July, August, they wouldn't even look at it at all. And they're never gonna mention June and July because they're too embarrassed to say, I didn't look at it. All right, so my clients send it out every month,
Mhm.
transparency.
And then I have another question. You talk about the holographic will. That's the will is always contested in court? Is it something that has to go through the court?
All wills must go through court,
Okay.
including holographic. Holographic don't always get contested. That old man I told you about, this is going right through, no problem.
Okay.
Piggyback on Anna's question, and that's another question that I get a lot, our title company gets a lot, is I do get calls from agents, when they're taking a listing and mom or dad died. And then they tell me they have a will. It's the property's not in a trust, but they have a will. And I said, we cannot act on, a title company cannot act on a will. And it has to be in a trust to avoid probate. So go ahead and piggyback on that. Why the title company on a will?
A will is just a statement of desire. It just says, I want. And the only person that can enforce that is a judge.
Mhm.
So they take the will to court, they file it, and if the will says Mary can be the executor, then Mary becomes the executor. All right?
And then what happens is, with that scenario, then the court order is issued, and then the title company can act upon that court.
So it's not
that-
probate though, it's not.
That is probate.
It is probate.
It's probate,
It's probate.
but not the expensive one.
Is it more direct? I mean, if you have a will, it's a little bit easier or direct.
All wills go through probate. All wills and no will with no other way of distribution goes to probate court.
Okay.
We have this new 750 limit that allows you to do a quickie, easy one, okay, without going through a full-blown process. And there's the other one, which is a full-blown process. In my case, depending on how it goes, if they're gonna sell the property, we'll always go through a full-blown process. Mainly because you sell the property, that's it. No one come back at you.
That probate cost before the percentage charged against the value of anything that is being
Yes,
inherited?
right. So if there are bank accounts going through probate, bang, that's included in what we charge. Oh, by the way, just like you guys, we don't minus the mortgage. $1 million house, $900,000 loan, we charge on $1 million.
Oh.
Okay? Same thing with you guys. You don't want to minus the mortgage, right?
Mhm.
The property value.
I would like your business card. How can I get it?
Right here.
It's right
Oh,
here.
no, I'm gonna give him a special one.
Oh,
I'm gonna give you a special one, okay?
Uh,
See, I use blankets as cards. And I just write on it. You have a pen?
No,
So that's okay.
what? A real term without. This is.
I have a question.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think.
Any other
we have
questions? We have one more?
Two more questions and then we're going to.
Yeah,
I
then
have a
we'll stop.
question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, Hello, my name is Sylvia, and I was hearing the comments regarding the holographic will and the will and the family trust. So now, is the holographic the same thing as the regular will?
Yes,
Okay.
it's the same thing, works exactly the same way. Except signing, there are different execution or the signing procedures are different. Okay, so holographic, all in your own handwriting, sign and date it. So if your husband's got property, they inherited from his family. Make sure he writes up something now. If he doesn't have anything else, make sure he writes up something now.
Oh, with that note,
Mhm.
with that note that you just said, Wade, and the person has to be competent when signing.
This is for that too, when you write it in your own hand signature?
Did I say witnesses?
No, I'm
No,
asking.
No,
no,
if there was gonna be witnesses, I would have said so.
my sister does
But
that.
that person has to be competent.
Okay, let
Okay.
me talk about that.
Real fast,
All right,
because
real
that's
fast,
important.
real
because we
fast,
could
okay?
have a lot in title.
What is competency? It's a really low standard, all right? I believe I am a Napoleon. I dress like him. I ride horses. I got my hand in my jacket all the time. But I know my wife is not Josephine. I know this is my wife. This is my kid. And I write a will. My delusions have nothing to do with the will, because the will says this goes my wife, it goes my kid.
Mhm,
That person's totally loony, but they can still write a will.
yeah,
So the level, it has to affect the capacity,
But the trust test, you have to. be competent.
trust, contract level.
Yeah.
When you first set up a trust, you have to be contract level in signing. When you do amendments, we treat it as will level. Okay, so you can think it's Napoleon, but still do it.
So the difference between writing a holographic will and not making any will, it's just basically making the judge job easier.
No, it makes your life easier.
no,
Well, you
probate.
keep the buckets, it's not
Yeah.
your life, but the reason why you're doing a holographic is basically you're going to be doing a trust, most likely. And this holographic will is a catch-all until you get that prepared.
Yeah,
Like I was gonna do the old man's trust, but it's gonna take me 2 weeks to get it done, because I got other work to do. I have to do a holographic just in case, that's a placeholder. I think he passed away. Good thing we had it.
I think we have a
One
question.
more
that's been cut in,
question.
We're at the close.
yeah, and that's it.
This is a quick question. If you draw up a will decades ago and your situation completely changed, do you need to draw up a new will or can you just do a amendment?
I don't like amendments. Just say, I cancel, I revoke all my prior will, this is a brand new one.
Mhm.
Same thing with trust. I never amend a trust. I just rewrite the whole thing. Okay? And the purpose of that is this. Well, if the guy's got 4 or 5 of them,
Right.
what did he cancel and what did he did not cancel? It's not right. It's just say, I write a brand new one. Yeah, make it more clear.
Okay, and Kathy, we're the last one, then we're gonna have to close it. Sorry.
What is the disadvantage, if changing from a joint tenant to tenant incumbent before doing a trust? Does it trigger the property tax and?
Well, my question is, why would you? Okay, if it's in joint tenancy between, let's say, you and boyfriend. Yeah, you might decide to change it to tenants in common, but you don't want him to get it when you pass away. Okay, you might do a separate trust with him. So I don't really know what you're trying to get at.
Okay, so what you mean is a joint tenancy can do a separate trust?
No, you do joint tenancy, you're gonna be breaking the joint tenancy. You're gonna make it into tenants in common.
Right,
This is my trust, boyfriend has his trust.
right. But is there any property, does it trigger the property tax?
No, you're still the same owners.
Okay,
Yeah, just look it up on.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
I wanna thank Wade.
Yay!
For your excellent presentation. I love knowledge. I love information, and I get so many questions on a daily basis. And when I heard his presentation, this is like the second, well, this is the third time. I said, oh my gosh, you have to come over here to George Realty now. Because, and share your knowledge and all this wonderful information. And this is all good for your personal life, but also for your clients as well. So Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Wanna come up and-
By the way, would you mind to come at the second time, so we can take more in depth?
And both Alpha Moy's office and Way's office is on Garfield close by, so it's a good team to put together.
Yes.
Do you want to greet them all?
And, thank you for coming today and this wonderful, wonderful presentation. And, I'm sure he's gonna be passing out cards. Okay, and they're here too, so thank you again, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
And Ray
much.
must be-
Very
is willing
enjoyable.
To come back a second time to go into the more in depth.
Yes,
So that will be very good. We're looking forward to that.
want to, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zoom
All right, guys.
members. Thank you for
for
coming.
attending. Thank you. Bye.
Everybody on Zoom and in the room, you all have the presentation slides. We sent them to you, okay? See you next time, till Friday.